Okay. All right. I am not going to move my laptop this time. I'm just going to be patient for what it is. Having a problem with my camera. Thank you, everyone that's taking the time to join us. Oh, boy. Ah, all right, guys. Bear with me. For some reason, I'm having a problem with one of my cameras. It's just not giving. Well, close enough. Thank you so much for joining me in the room with a special agenda tonight to discuss something that a lot of people are going to, because of the holiday, and just be dealing with. All of us who are in my village of dealing with on a day-to-day basis who we love, our loved ones and our children and family members who may be neurodivergent and be on the spectrum or have ADHD, dealing with others outside of the realm of who we deal with daily. We know how to manage our loved ones, whether it be our children or our mates, siblings. We understand what and how to move with them, how to manage their day to day. Generally, how to keep the peace. But when dealing with others who love us and who we love, it can get to be a moment where you feel such anxiety because you are fearful of how things will go. You are concerned that this is going to possibly be, rather than something that you in a situation where you enjoy. There is so much anxiety and stress with dealing with being in someone else's house, being in someone else's car, being in someone else's space, or them being in your space. It can be a lot. It can be so much anxiety. And everybody doesn't observe the holidays, but we do, when we have free time, travel and visit our loved ones. And having children who have impulsivity issues or because they're on the spectrum, may have meltdowns and other family members don't know how to deal with that, or pray tell if they have issues with sensory issues and don't eat certain things, or um, they have problems with being in a crowded room. In a situation with that, it can be overwhelming and so anxiety building. And within that situation, it's hard to stay not wound up or to be careful not to, because what is causing them anxiety will also cause you anxiety because you are all in that particular situation trying to not be overwhelmed, hoping that the family doesn't get overwhelmed. And a lot of times what happens when you're in the environment of others, what we're honestly most concerned about is being chastised as adults in a room full of people where you're being made to feel ashamed or guilty or incompetent. And that's what the biggest thing that parents often feel. You feel or made to feel like you are not really putting in an effort, or they're just spoiled, or you don't know how to be a parent, or you're being lazy, or they're being manipulative. And you get all of these negative feedback. Well, really, what's important is to have conversations with individuals before you get there, before you are in a situation where Now you're in a room full of people and you feel that flash of need to instantly respond because you see them looking at your child, or you see them heading in the direction of doing something that you know is going to cause them to have a meltdown. Whether it is trying to force feed them or seeing them getting ready to do something that you know is a form of discipline that you all don't do because you've known it to be non-productive, invasive, or your child's not going to respond to them because they're not familiar with how they do things or what they expect, or the kind of punishment that they do, or is in fact that it's not necessarily to teach your child anything and they haven't got permission or spoken to you. Because a lot of times culturally in some family infrastructures, anyone that is older is allowed to correct your child if your child is within their reach or eyesight. And lots of times we don't have the conversations respectfully ahead of time where we let them know that one, that our child does have a diagnosis, what your plan is, and how to take the lead in that situation before it does get out of control. Tell them what you um, do as forms of correction and redirection, in that it's okay to let you know or bring it to your attention that something's happening with your child. It's important to have conversations with your children that are positive before you get where you're going, as far as what's expected behaviorally. And if they get overwhelmed, I generally try to give my children words. For Rayla, that has been more effective lately. And I hate that I didn't figure it out a lot sooner, because for her, what works as of late, and she's using her words more, which I love, is she tells me what she's unhappy with and what she would like instead. So if something's happening that she doesn't love, I say, tell me what you'd like to do. If something starts to happen that you don't like or is making you upset, say, I would like to. And I give her examples, and that's what's been happening. Or I would say, tell me what you need. So you tell me I need to. For parents, I found that it's effective too. And it might be something that you can do also, because when you're in someone else's space, maybe you're in another state or you're not with your vehicle. Maybe you came by a plane or train or bus, to find a space and speak with whoever owns the home or wherever you all are. If there's a space that you can go to when you need to talk to your child or help them calm down, and rather than make it a position where they feel that they're being corrected, and some children are sensitive to that, particularly when they get older, where you say, I need some time. Can we go talk together? Mom needs to wind down. I need your help. Can you help me wind down? Can we go together? And maybe take a snack or something. It's important to bring music or things that are calming to them. If it's a weighted blanket, if it is something that's warm that you can put around their neck, or something maybe texturally that they like that would help them stim in a way that's not so visual for others. Some children like things that they can rub, and sometimes it helps to give them something they can rub. For Rayla, there used to be a surgical brush that her therapist had given her, her OT had given her, in which we would rub her cheeks with it, and that helped. Sorry. Having things that helps your child relax is helpful. Bringing your children's movies or different things that they have, and creating a space where at a particular time you can discuss with the guests, where you can bring the others into your child's world, which means that you can put a movie in and have a sensory friendly environment so the other children can participate and your child will become. So even if it's a movie where they get an opportunity to have a movie and they kind of move about, if there's someone that needs to stand or they need to have freedom to move about and have something of that sort. Bring snacks that your child like that maybe other children will like too. So they won't necessarily be forced to eat what other people are eating. If you bring their food and you know it's something that they like, when everybody else is fixing their everyone when they're fixing other people's plates, you can bring out what your child likes, and that way that eliminates a lot of things. And as parents, when we're in a hurry and we're packing, sometimes we forget to bring those little bitty things that bring comfort. Rather than doing that, we try to attempt to assimilate them within that moment with what other people are doing, or other people will try to force them to assimilate. And we're hoping that they will pick this or that. It's important to take those moments to take control of that situation so that you'll have less stress. It's important also as a parent that when you have those little moments where they are watching a movie and you can kind of keep an eye out, that you take the time to give yourself a cup of coffee, take your shoes off, or do something that allows you to have a little peace. It's important also to have conversations with different individuals where they understand that you do appreciate all the effort and the attempts at doing things. But because you do things differently doesn't mean that you're not taking in consideration what they're saying, but you don't think right now is the moment to implement their suggestions. That way, that even if you don't intend to implement their form of discipline or correction, they feel heard, and you get an opportunity to help them understand what you are doing or how you all operate, so that they can have a perspective that you are not disciplining your children. You're just not doing it in a way that they think would work. You're doing it in a way that's best for your family and your household and your children, in a way in which they won't be offended, but they may feel included because you have had a conversation with them and they are participating in a way by providing a space or an opportunity. Now, if you do bring your own vehicle, then you may be able to separate yourself and go to the car and you all have a talk and just sit. Sometimes adjustment is just getting a chance to meditate and enjoy the space. Put in their music that you know they like. If it's a DVD or a video, something that allows them to unwind and you to unwind. You where you understand that you aren't required to correct in the moment or the way in which other people expect you to do things, because what they understand and what you know are two different situations. And understand that we have to be careful to not allow other people's intentions to cause undue damage to our family, because what we think will be a minor thing and they may get through may be trauma for them later, and trauma for you, because as adults, if we're honest with ourselves, we you can experience trauma as an adult just like you can as a child. And also, you want to give yourself permission to not feel obligated to do what other people think. It's absolutely okay to not correct in the manner in which other people feel like you should. And knowing that is really important when it comes to helping your family get through being in an unfamiliar space, in an unfamiliar situation with some people who you may be visiting family members that you haven't seen in years. So they may not even know those individuals. Also, helping them, other people understand that even if their love language is a hug, if your child does not want a hug, do not require a child, particularly a child who is sensory sensitive, to be forced into a situation where they are forced to receive a hug or give a hug from someone who they know or don't know. It's not necessary that you do that. It's not necessary for them. Taking the time to give yourself that's a gift all by itself. Or even, and I'm going to say this, and some people may like it or not, don't go. It doesn't matter. If you know that it's going to be something that's going to be a problem, don't go. Lots of times, the biggest rifts are created around holiday breaks and going over different family members' house. Not the event, but the misunderstanding. Sometimes we know how different individuals are. We know that they're particular, and some people have the need to control every situation in different individuals too. Um, Maybe you can tell them that maybe we will come later when it's less of a crowd. We don't do well with crowds. If it is anxiety building for you or for the family, your particular family, it's okay to go at a time when go real early or a different day when it won't be so much for you or for your kids. If you know that this person has issues with people who are neurodivergent or have mental health issues and they don't understand, it might be too much. We years ago we went to visit family, and it wasn't the holiday, but it was around the holiday. It was weeks before Christmas or something, but they had the tree up, and we went to visit. And my daughter, who was 3 at the time, had sensory issues, and she wanted to touch it, but she didn't understand, and she kept knocking her tree down. And it wasn't on purpose, and we would take her away from it, and it was lights and all this stuff, and I could understand their upset, and they didn't understand what was going on, and we were just learning. And there were other things that were happening, and they didn't know what autism was, and we were just learning, and we were just having this conversation. And the family member was insistent that we prevent her from certain things that she was doing. And it wasn't a knocking over a tree because we clearly understood that. But it was the other things that she was having problems regulating her emotions and stuff. And I think she was 3, maybe if she was 3. And they were so upset. And so we just vowed never to go back to their house. It wasn't that we didn't love them, and it wasn't that they didn't love us. It was that we didn't understand each other, and this was no longer the space for us. This wasn't the environment. And these were the circumstances where in which she was going to be safe, because what we weren't going to do, and we loved them a great deal, we knew something was going on with our daughter. And they didn't understand, and they felt that they should be able to step in at their discretion and manage what they thought we weren't. And so none of us ended up in handcuffs. We decided that for our best interest, we weren't gonna go back over there. Now, it wasn't that we thought they were bad parents, but they were our child's parents, and they were unaware of what was happening. And as time went on, it became clear that they weren't ever going to figure it out. And there are going to be times when you have to make peace with that. That some people will never understand, and they will never be in your situation. We like to say as parents and individuals in general that that sometimes wait till they have to deal with this. They may never deal with it. They never deal with your illness. They may never experience the circumstances you're going through. They may never go through anything that you're experiencing in life. And if you cannot come to an understanding of that, deal with each other the most loving way in the manner in which, not that you just tolerate each other, but you can get through the experience if that's what that's going to be. But never sit in a place of unwellness hoping that they're going to figure it out, because they won't. They won't, they may never experience it. And some people have good intentions, and some people have intentions to control. That may be a good thing. It may work out. Depends on how you all can manage it together. Or some people will cross boundaries and they're going to try to knock your walls down, which may end up them being knocked out. So, just in case you're the type that might end up in handcuffs if this go way far left, you may need to give yourself permission to pick a different time to visit. If not today, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, next week. If not next month, next week, next month. If not next month, next year. And in some cases, not at all. A phone call and a video call may have to do. You still saw them and you still heard them and they still saw you and heard you. Do what's best for your family. Stress-free sometimes looks like looking out for your sanity and not the opinion of others. And the opinion of others may mean, oh, it ain't gonna come. You know how they is about their children. And you may need to be like that with your children. Some families have a history of abuse. And if you have a special needs child and your family has a history of physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, where they are might not be where you need to be. A card and a kiss in the mail might have to do it. Give yourself permission to stay happy, and your family can stay happy and whole. You'll have a wonderful night. Be kind to each other. Take the time to show each other the way that you can. Peace is peace any way you can get it. Don't feel guilty for trying to keep your own. You all be kind to each other. Show each other love. When someone says something ugly, you do not owe them to say something back. Sometimes silence hits harder than words. Have a good night. Good night.